Right, I'd like to call the Macomb City Council to order, please. If you please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. If the clerk would call the roll, please.
Justin Shue.
Here.
John Vajetzi. Byron Shabazz.
Here.
Dave Dorsett.
Present.
Ashley Katz. Don Wynn.
Here.
Dennis Moon.
Here.
5 present.
We have a quorum, thank you. Regarding the proclamation, we're going to, without objection, and delay that for a month, if that's all right. We'll take care of that in the first meeting of May, if that's all right. And we would like to call a public hearing to consider adoption of an ordinance approving a lease agreement with the McDonough County Humane Society. That's a general overview from the city attorney, if she could give us an outline of what we're proposing here.
Sure. The city has property on 101 East Tower Road, which is also the location of the current animal shelter. So the lease agreement provides that the Humane Society would lease a portion of that property just to the east of the current location on a portion that is a part of our impound lot. There would be no rental obligation associated with that lease. It would be a 99-year lease, and it would allow the Humane Society to construct a new structure to house the animal shelter facility.
Thank you. Entertain any questions. We do have a representative here from the Humane Society. Ms. Scripps Smith is here. Anything you'd like to add about the proposed facility or what the timeline or anything may be? And if you would, we'd ask you to please come forward. Excuse me.
Timeline, we're hoping we can get started sooner rather than later. Within this next year, be well underway. The location that Lisa is referring to would be ideal for the animal shelter. We would have access to the playpens that are there. The road that we walk the dogs on is very conducive to being safe and secure for us. The shelter will probably be 3.5 times larger than the one that is currently in existence, and it would just make a big difference in what we're trying to do. There's no residential area around, so there shouldn't be any complaints about the dog noise, and we're very thankful for the consideration of this.
Thank you. All righty. We just mentioned or note that this is located just, 50 yards south of east of the existing animal shelter. It's be all new construction, and the Humane Society has done a great job of getting the funds necessary to proceed forward with the project.
We're close to, we have over $950,000 raised, so we're in really good shape.
Very good. All right. Thank you, Ms. Scripps. Appreciate it. Anyone else wish to speak in favor of or in opposition to or bring forth any discussion for us to consider at this public hearing this evening? All righty. For the purposes of the consideration of that ordinance, we'll conclude this public hearing. We will entertain a public hearing to consider creation of a Class P plus OPC liquor license for the Zandi Corporation doing business as Smoke Galaxy at 901 West Jackson Street here in Macomb. The petitioner is present here with us this evening and a representative with him. Would you want to come forward and maybe give us an overview and an outline of what you're proposing, please?
So my main business of revenue would be the Smoke Galaxy, which is a tobacco shop, and additional to that, I want to add gaming, so I can get for the gaming license, so I can add more revenue to the business that will help me cut any expenses from it. So that would give me extra revenue for the business.
Okay, so the packaged liquor sales plus the opportunity to make yourself available for on-site consumption of that alcohol then would allow you to make application for a video gaming license, correct?
Correct, yep.
All righty. It's currently occupied by a business, is that correct?
Yeah, yep,
Okay.
it is, yep.
All righty. Any questions for the petitioner from the council or anyone from the public? All righty. Thank you, sir. Anyone wish to speak in favor of or in opposition to the issuance of the P plus OPC liquor license for the city? All righty, hearing none, we'll conclude that public hearing. Citizens wishing to address the city council on matters germane to the agenda of tonight's meeting will be limited to 3 minutes and are asked to be brief and concise in making their remarks. Comments submitted by mail or email will not be read aloud, but a copy will be provided to each member of the council and made a part of some of the minutes of this meeting. Does anyone wish to speak under the public comment section of the agenda this evening? All righty, hearing none, we'll move on to the consent agenda. Council, before you is a consent agenda and a motion is in order.
Motion to adopt is presented.
Second.
It's moved and seconded to adopt the consent agenda. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Shu. Aye. Shabazz.
Aye.
Dorset.
Aye.
Wynn.
Aye.
Moon.
Aye.
All ayes.
Motion carried. Thank you. Under unfinished business, item number 1, consideration of an ordinance amending portions of Chapter 4 concerning alcoholic beverages within the city's municipal code. This ordinance had first reading on, discussion, and first reading, and the discussion was on 2 consecutive committee of the whole meetings on the 24th and 31st of last month. This will be second reading.
Thank you. The city is authorized by the Illinois Liquor Control Act to establish rules and regulations concerning the issuance of licenses within the city of Macomb. The mayor and city attorney are recommending for consideration amendments to section 4-81.5 of chapter 4 of our municipal code. If adopted, the ordinance provides that council desires to concur with that recommendation and amend section 4-81.5 of chapter 4 of the municipal code as set forth in the attached exhibit A.
Thank you. That'll stand as second reading. Motion is in order.
Motion to adopt the ordinance amending portions of Chapter 4 concerning alcoholic beverages within Macomb's municipal code.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to adopt the ordinance. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Shabazz.
Aye.
Dorset.
Aye.
Wynn.
Aye.
Moon.
Aye.
Shu.
Aye.
All ayes.
Motion carried. Thank you. There is no other unfinished business this evening. Under new business, item number 1, consideration of an ordinance to approve a lease agreement between the City of Macomb and the McDonough County Humane Society. This will be first reading.
Thank you. The city owns real estate located at 101 East Tower Road, Macomb, Illinois. The McDonough County Humane Society has been fundraising for many years and desires to construct a new animal shelter on a portion of that premises. City would determine that it is in the best interest of the city and its residents and that the lease proposed is lawful and an appropriate use of the property. If adopted, the ordinance provides that the corporate authorities find that it's advisable, necessary, and in the best interest of the city to execute the lease agreement that is attached as Exhibit A. And it would authorize the mayor or his designee to execute that lease agreement.
Thank you. That will stand as first reading. We'll place that on for further discussion at next week's Committee of the Whole meeting. Item number 2, consideration of an ordinance to create a Class P plus OPC liquor license for DeSandy Corporation doing business as Smoke Galaxy at 901 West Jackson Street here in the city. This will be first reading.
Thank you. DeSandy Corporation doing business as Smoke Galaxy is located at 901 West Jackson Street in Macomb and has applied and requested approval of that site for the sale of alcoholic beverages and the creation of a Class P plus OPC liquor license. Upon receipt of the application, we compiled a list of record owners within 250 feet of the real estate and posted signs at the subject property, provided those owners written notice of a public hearing, and scheduled the public hearing for April 7th, 2025 at 5:15 p.m., also publishing notice of that public hearing in the community news brief. We have arranged for a background check to be conducted by the Macomb Police Department. At this time, the city has not received any written protests from any of the record owners or anyone else about the sale of alcohol at the subject property. We did conduct the public hearing tonight, and if adopted, the ordinance does provide for the creation of a Class P plus OPC liquor license at 901 West Jackson Street for DeSandy Corporation doing business as Smoke Galaxy.
Thank you. That'll stand as a first reading, and we'll have that on for further discussion at next week's Committee of the Whole. Item number 3, consideration of an ordinance implementing a municipal grocery retailer's occupation tax and municipal grocery service occupation tax for the city of Macomb. This will be first reading.
Thank you. The City of Macomb is a non-home rule municipality. The Illinois Municipal Code does permit the imposition of a tax upon all persons engaged in the business of selling groceries at retail in the municipality. This word is going to get me today. Municipal grocery retailers' occupation tax may be imposed at the rate of 1% of gross receipts from these sales. That tax would be administered and collected and enforced by the Illinois Department of Revenue. The Illinois Municipal Code also permits the imposition of a grocery retailer's occupation tax and imposes a surface occupation tax. The ordinance provides that council believes that it is appropriate, necessary, and in the best interest of the city and its residents to levy the grocery retailer's occupation tax as permitted by the Illinois Municipal Code, as well as the grocery service occupation tax. If adopted, the ordinance does provide that both of those taxes would be enacted and imposed, that they would be collected and enforced by the Illinois Department of Revenue, and that the clerk would be directed to file a certified copy of the ordinance with the Illinois Department of Revenue on or before October 1st, 2025, with the taxes to take effect January 1st, 2026.
Thank you. That'll stand as first reading, and that will have further discussion at next week's committee of the whole meeting as well. Item number 4. Consideration of an ordinance to adopt the City of Macomb's annual budget for fiscal year 2025 through 2026. This will be first reading.
Thank you. The city has adopted the municipal budgeting process as set forth in the Illinois Municipal Code. The city administrator is the duly appointed budget officer and has prepared a budget for the city for the fiscal year commencing May 1st, 2025 and ending April 30th, 2026. That budget has been made available for public inspection in the office of the city clerk, on the the City of Macomb website, and at the Macomb Public Library since on or about March 26th, 2025. A public hearing will actually be held on April 14th, 2025, pursuant to notice that will be published tomorrow, April 8th, 2025. The ordinance provides that the estimated amount of budgeted expenditures for the fiscal year, May 1st, 2025 through April 30th, 2026 is $58,623,873, and the aggregate amount of budgeted revenues is $54,907,412. The ordinance also provides that the treasurer is authorized to make all interfund transfers and that the city clerk would be authorized and directed to file the budget with the county clerk as required by law.
Thank you. That'll stand as first reading, and that'll be placed on the agenda for further discussion at next Monday's Committee of the Whole meeting. Excuse me. Item number 5, consideration of an ordinance authorizing the sale of certain personal property. That's to include equipment and vehicles owned by the City of Macomb. This will be first reading.
Thank you. The Illinois Municipal Code permits cities to dispose of personal property that it no longer is necessary, useful, or beneficial to retain in one of the 3 ways permitted by the code. Based upon the opinions of City Hall staff and department heads, council would find that it's no longer necessary, useful, or beneficial to retain the personal property listed in the attached Exhibit A and would authorize the mayor or his designee to dispose of that property as permitted by the Illinois Municipal Code.
Thank you. We have a list of attached stuff there. The idea would be that there's possibility between now and next week when it's up for discussion at the Committee of the Whole, there may be additional items placed on that disposal list. Item number 6, consideration to accept and execute the Illinois Department of Transportation statewide planning and research funds application in the amount of $220,000. So that does come with a local match of 20%, which would be $44,000. There's a memo in your packet from Ms. Bidenstadt, the grant writer, and do you want to, excuse me, wrong transportation grant, sorry. Didn't we, and I got confused earlier today. Ms. Calabria, we'll let you talk about the IDOT grant that we're proposing here. Go ahead, please.
Yes, so staff is requesting approval from City Council to accept and execute all documents related to this planning grant that was applied for April of 2024. The Transit Department was awarded the grant January 17th, 2025, and will be providing funding assistance to support planning and research activities. Can everyone hear me now? Better. How about now? Okay. These funds will be used to assess our current transportation needs evaluate the current transportation infrastructure, and develop a transit plan that incorporates fixed route and demand response services to address transportation gaps and improve connectivity within Macomb as well as surrounding communities. City of Macomb Transit Department requests $220,000 for the project. This grant does require a 20% local match of $44,000 that would be drawn for the transit reserve. Now that the grant is awarded, additional GATA documentation will need to be submitted.
Okay, very good. Any questions for Mr. Petrino for this application? The $44,000 match, if you heard it indicate, is not coming out of the general fund. It's coming out of reserves in the transit fund, correct?
Yep.
Okay. We'd entertain a motion to authorize accept and execute that application.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Dorset,
Aye.
Wynn,
Aye.
Moon,
Aye.
Shu,
Aye.
Shabazz.
Aye.
All ayes.
Motion carried. Thank you. And you're up for number 7 as well?
Yes.
Consideration to authorize an interagency agreement between the City of Macomb and the Hancock County Transit Service for their public transportation services. Memos in your packet. Could you go over that for us as well? We'll have the resolution here in a minute, but if you could go over what we're proposing here.
Sure. City of Macomb Public Transportation requests that council approve the updated interagency agreement with Hancock County, allowing City of Macomb to be the public transportation system contractor for Hancock County Public Transportation Program. All labor, benefits, parts, services, and miscellaneous expenses accrued for operating HCPT will be billed to Hancock County monthly. This agreement will be in effect July 1st, 2025, and shall continue through June 30th, 2026. Unless terminated as provided herein, this agreement shall automatically renew for another 4-year period to end June 30th, 2030.
Thank you. Any questions regarding that before we have the resolution read into the record? Madam Attorney, please.
Thank you. The Illinois Constitution permits local governments and governments in general to enter into agreements to obtain and share services. McDonough County Public Transportation Program in Hancock County support the access to and availability of public transportation in Hancock County. The resolution provides that council would adopt the interagency agreement attached and incorporated as Exhibit A.
Thank you. Would entertain a motion to adopt the resolution.
Move to adopt the resolution as presented.
Second.
Moved and seconded to adopt the resolution as presented. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Wynn,
Aye.
Moon,
Aye.
Shu,
Aye.
Shabazz.
Aye.
Dorset.
Aye.
All ayes.
Motion carried. Thank you. Item number 8, consideration to accept the proposal from Sports Facilities Company for partnership development support services related to the planned sports complex here in the city of Macomb. This has had some extensive discussion during the budgetary process and also was brought before the Community Development Committee with a recommendation to proceed. I would entertain a motion to approve the agreement.
Move to approve the agreement. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Alderman Shu.
Can you talk about how this number 8, and then later on when we have the number 13, but the resolution with the business district, like, because that also references the park, how these two kind of interplay with each other here?
Sure. Ms. Scalf, do you want to take the lead on that?
Sure. The resolution that is presented in item number 12 would allow us to recoup the costs from this agreement from any potential tax levied in the business development district. Without the resolution, we would not be able to essentially reimburse the general fund for those expenses. Looking to my expert.
Thank you.
I would understand if someone thought this was a little of the cart ahead of the horse, but in fact, it is required for the horse to catch up with the cart down the road, if that makes sense. Alderman Dorset.
Yeah, and I know we've discussed this quite a bit, but I think more than one of us said last week when we were talking about this that there would be a second committee of the whole for folks to weigh in on this, because was my belief that this was going to be first reading with second reading at later council meeting.
So with resolutions, we don't have first and second reading. Resolutions are just one reading and adoption.
Alderman Dorset, I wasn't here last week, but are you referring to the business development district? Because,
Both, essentially.
well, so the way I see it, the agreement to move forward with the sports facility, this is a services to continue the development, which is just it's not an ordinance, a formal approval to continue the development of that. So that's approving that. And then, and I think I did watch it last week, the mayor mentioned up until we get bid documents and we get the bids in, the council can say, no, it's too much, we can stop. Now, we've invested all that time and effort to get to that point, but we could stop at that point if necessary. The business development district, this is just a resolution tying the income, the revenue from that to be able to pay for this ahead of when the council approves the business development district. There will have to be an ordinance once we get all the district decided on. We have already in the budget, we have the fees planned to develop the district, but until later on, 2 or 3 months down the road, when we bring forward the actual area of the district, that's when there will be an ordinance with a committee, council, committee of the whole, and council for approval.
Thank you.
Is that help? That's what I'm hearing is the misunderstanding or not understanding of what we're talking about. So I watched it, but I don't remember exactly how it was said last week. So I was out of town.
You have a first and a second.
We do. Okay. And I'm sorry, Alderman Shue.
Yeah, I was the second person reference. I appreciate the overview. I think that's helpful. I want to reiterate from the conversation that I think there's excitement around the project, and certainly I agree we should be looking into it. I have more hesitation on the approach, and then as I talk to people on how we're going to pay for it and some things, I think the waters are muddied and less excitement around the business development district. So I'm kind of at an impasse in terms of where we should be, because it does seem like, to the point, if we're going to put the time and energy, it feels like we're going to come to a point where the discussion is, well, we've already done all this work, we basically need to do this. And I want to make it clear that I'm not overly sold on that at this point. So
Understood. And to quote someone from last week, we're proceeding with caution. And I believe that's a good way to proceed. This and and maybe we should have had these in different order on the agenda. Maybe that would have lent itself to some discussion about what we're really accomplishing with the resolution of inducement. Steve, do you want to make any comments about that as it relates to this discussion now?
I guess the other thing I would say is we were on path to ask to implement a business development district completely separate from a sports facility.
yeah,
Because it's a tool that actually when John Bannon was here, he asked for this 2 or 3 years ago. We just never got far enough along. So it's kind of seems like they're all converging at the same time. That's not intended, but we would be asking to move forward with a business development district regardless of the sports facility. So that helps the discussion a little bit. So.
well, I can wait for then I have more questions about some of the verbiage in number 12, but I'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
Okay. We do have a motion and a second on this particular issue. Any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Moon,
Aye.
Shu,
Aye.
Shabazz,
Aye.
Dorset,
Aye.
Wynn,
Aye.
all ayes.
Motion carried. Thank you. We appreciate the discussion. Item number 9, consideration to waive the bid process for the installation of a new welcome sign at the city's north entrance. This was discussed at the Community Development Committee with a recommendation to proceed, and we did have some discussion last week at the Committee of the Whole. Scott, is there anything you want to add?
I guess the only thing I would add is Alderman Shue reached out to me, and if I don't say it, he's going to say it, so I'll go first. On the image that we have for the sign, we do have our tagline on there, small town living, community driven. He has a concern that that's transient, could be potentially a transient, and I think Alderman Dorsett does also. We had several different versions that the staff looked at, and we could remove that and put the established in 1830 down on the bottom, and actually probably would get a little cheaper because it's a little less detail. Yeah, we can change. I don't have any heartburn about taking that off, so we can change that, no problem. If that's, I'm hearing it from a couple aldermen that that's a concern, so.
We'd entertain a motion to waive the bid process for the installation of the sign.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, and any discussion on that? Hearing Alderman Shute.
I would agree with Scott and the overview and hope that we change that. I feel really good about it.
Okay, very good. Any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Shu,
Aye.
Shabazz.
Aye.
Dorset.
Aye.
Wynn.
Aye.
Moon.
Aye.
All ayes.
Motion carried, thank you. And in conjunction with that, with the waiver of the bid process, we'd entertain a motion to approve the proposal from Benson Sign and Graphics Incorporated in the amount of $39,834 to manufacture and install a Welcome Macomb sign with maybe a modification in the wording. That's my take. The motion is up to interpretation.
So moved.
Second.
And Alderman Moon.
How's that compare to the other prices we got for this?
So this one, we did not go out for bids because we did not start with a design. We didn't pay anyone to design it. This company designed it, so it's I would say it's that's why we asked to waive the bids in the previous item. So I feel this is I've got some comparables in talking with other communities. I think this is right in line with what these type of signs cost.
Well, before I could support it, I'd like to know what we could have got it for from somewhere else. To me, that's one of the reasons we sit here.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Alderman Shute.
I just wanted to clarify, and I don't dislike I don't love the tagline, but the reason I know we have it around town and on other things, but those are on relatively easier things to replace and redo, and I just feel like in a permanent sign, so we can save some, if somebody wants to change it down the road, it would be easier to just not have it there on something of this nature. But I think we need a sign desperately, and it will help as people come into town. Just clarifying that a little bit.
All right, thank you. Any other discussion? Hearing none, then roll call, please.
Shabazz.
Aye.
Dorset.
Aye.
Wynn.
Aye.
Moon.
No.
Shu.
Aye.
4-1.
Motion carried, thank you. Item number 11, consideration to authorize submitting an application for the Rural and Tribal Assistance Pilot Program, RTA grant, and retain the services of grant scribes for assistance. This was discussed at Community Development Committee, along with a recommendation to proceed. We have Ms. Bidenstadt here to go over the particulars. Jessica, would you mind, please? Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you again for your time and thoughtful consideration on this request. Last week at Committee of the Whole, I shared the full background on this grant opportunity and the value of continuing our partnership with GrantScribe. Tonight, I'd like to briefly summarize my key points that I made last week. The Rural and Tribal Assistance Grant application serves as a contingency plan for a project that's been discussed since the 1990s. An 8.5-mile multi-use path that would encompass Macomb and provide connections to key areas in town and a safe space for all community members to walk or ride around. In January of this year, GrantScribe and I applied to the Build Grant Program through the Department of Transportation for this project. The Build Grant Program is equally as competitive as the application we are requesting to submit. Should we not receive the Build Grant, this new opportunity gives us another shot at funding and bringing this proposed project a step closer to fruition. If we are awarded both, we can either enhance the scope or withdraw from the second application. In either scenario, we retain full control. An update on the RTA program that was provided to me that I want to provide to you is that they have recently paused their application submissions. This is due to their application portal having unforeseen technical issues. This will benefit us in our submission, as the Notice of Funding Opportunity states that the grants are first come, first serve, and the applications were initially due by April 17th, but with the extra time we will now have to prepare our application, we hope to be one of the first to submit once the portal reopens. As for Grant Scribe, they are not just consultants, they are mentors with over 20 years of federal grant experience. We have received their assistance through the Thriving Communities Grant, and they have assisted us in providing us with a grant roadmap and actively send us opportunities that align with our project goals. Their guidance has strengthened our submissions. They have mentored me as the city's new grant writer, and they have substantial knowledge on navigating very complex and competitive application processes. Even with their assistance, I will still maintain full ownership of submitted materials and control all grant portals. Their assistance for the RTA application will remain under $3,500, and the funds for their support have already been budgeted under the general fund professional fees. No additional appropriation is needed. Our request tonight allows us to submit a competitive application and continue receiving expert support that directly strengthens our chances. Thank you, and we respectfully ask for your support in approving both the application and Grant Scribe's assistance.
Thank you, Jessica. Any questions for Jess regarding the proposal here? We entertain a motion to authorize the submitting of that application.
Motion to authorize submission of the application to the RTA grant and to retain Grant Scribe's assistance.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, then please roll call.
Dorset,
Aye.
Wynn,
Aye.
Moon,
Aye.
Shu,
Aye.
Shabazz,
Aye.
all ayes.
Motion carried. Thank you. Thanks, Jess. Item number 12, consideration to adopt a public inducement resolution for a business district zone in the city of Macomb. A copy of the resolution is attached. This had some discussion at the committee of the whole. And Scott, anything you want to add that hasn't already been added before I ask Mr.
Not that I can think of.
Klein to step up and give. Steve, could you come up and give us just a general overview of what this inducement is about and where it leads us?
Thank you. And I appreciate the questions that you may have about the inducement resolution. This is not a resolution that's establishing a business development district. This is merely a resolution that marks a point in time from which the city could begin to incur costs that would be eligible expenses that if the city eventually establishes a business development district, then at that time, these costs would be eligible for reimbursement to perhaps your general fund or whatever other funds you may be financing the engineering, the preliminary consulting, and other costs that you might incur for the sports facility or other projects that might be within a proposed business district boundary. So there's a long way to go between now and when you would literally be considering the establishment of a business district. All this resolution does is it documents that the city, upon establishing a business district, will have the choice, the prerogative to use business district funds to reimburse costs that you're going to be incurring that would be within the business district area and would be eligible under the Business District Act at that time. Did I leave anything out?
No. Any questions for Mr. Klein? We appreciate you being here tonight, Steve. Alderman Shu.
Sorry. That's a helpful overview. I appreciate it. Thank you. I guess my question is to the earlier point of the discussion on needing a business district, because I think I understand and would agree with that, but tying it so much in this resolution is tied to doing this because of the sports complex. So it sounds like, is that because we want to make it clear that we can reimburse all expenses if we wanted to of the sports complex? I guess why is it so tied to this potential sports complex?
Because that's the only anchor project that we're aware of at this time. If you had a private developer, for example, that wanted to build a hotel somewhere within a proposed business district area, we'd be back with an inducement resolution for them as well, because it's very likely they may want to start the project before the business district could be established per the act because it takes a procedure, a process in order to establish it. It's going to take at least 3 to 4 months to get through that procedure. By the time we lay out the area, we have a map, we have the qualifications identified, and I don't know where that boundary necessarily is going to be yet, but it very well could include your key commercial corridors and adjacent properties, which could be a number of properties that would be included in this. And that takes time because we go on a parcel by parcel basis to try to ascertain the qualifications of the area, again, per the act. And the qualifications are similar to what we look at for tax increment financing, for example. But they are somewhat different as well. You can kind of think of a business development district as being a TIF district's cousin. It's just, the business district relies on a new municipal sales tax that's imposed specifically within the business district area and not community-wide. So it's targeted to a limited boundary. And a TIF district, as you know, operates on the same principle where you have a redevelopment area, but it relies on real estate tax increases that occur within that boundary. To the extent that the two overlap, they can work together. But again, we have a lot of homework yet to do to determine where that's going to be.
And then also the timeline on, if it takes us that time, it has to be by October 1st to the state?
So it's on the same timeline as your grocery tax you were talking about earlier. The Department of Revenue will only accept ordinances to change your municipal sales tax rate twice a year. So those requests have to be submitted on or before April the 1st for a tax to take effect the following July 1. Or the other opportunity is on or before October 1st for the tax to take effect on the following January 1st of the following year.
So a couple of processes running in parallel here. Alderman Dorsey.
Yeah, and in my mind, while they seem to be falling together, I believe that the business district zone is even more important than perhaps the sports facility complex. Because if we decide to bail on that somewhere down the road, we still have those inducement dollars coming in so that we can do something with another project down the road. We have been very clear that we don't want this to be tied to real estate taxes because we know that we've got high real estate taxes in the state of Illinois. But this is another tool for the toolbox, and I think that we really ought to give this serious consideration.
Very good. Any other questions? Thank you, Mr. Klein, again, and appreciate your explanation. Have the city attorney read the resolution into the record, please.
Thank you. The City of Macomb has the authority to promote the health, safety, and welfare of the city and its citizens and to prevent the spread of blight and deterioration by promoting the development of public and private investment in property. The Business District Development and Redevelopment Act allows municipalities the ability to create within their corporate boundaries a business development district. The city has determined that it intends to propose the approval of a business district plan and designation of a business district redevelopment project area to allow the city to impose taxes pursuant to that act. The city has determined that the establishment of a district will further help to mitigate the presence of blighting factors as defined in the Act and to help facilitate new public and private investments within the Business Development District redevelopment project area. Pursuant to the Act, the city would have the authority to incur eligible business district project costs and enter into agreements with private developers to reimburse those costs. The city is considering the use of future business development district tax revenues to develop multi-use outdoor sports facility and venues. Those projects would entail expenditures of substantial time, effort, and money and cannot be developed without the assistance of the tax revenues. The Act defines business district project costs, which are set forth in the resolution. Upon establishing a business development district, the city would have additional authority to pay or cause to be paid business district project costs from the tax allocation fund, including the expenses listed in the resolution. Development of the sports facilities project will assist in financing of eligible public and private redevelopment costs per the Act, and those costs incurred after the date of this resolution. The resolution is intended to serve as an official declaration of intent on behalf of the city. The resolution is intended to induce the city or its assignee to proceed with the development of the sports facility project and to seek reimbursement from the business district tax revenue or the proceeds of debt as may be agreed. Council has examined the proposed project area, believes that the expenditures of development costs and furtherance of the potential business development district redevelopment plan should be allowable costs under the Act, and this resolution is an indication of the intent and sense of the city at this time. The resolution provides that the intentions of the city regarding the proposed sports facility project would be approved, and that neither the intentions, affirmations, authorizations, nor the recitals are binding upon the city. Council is in favor of proceeding with development of the proposed sports facilities project subject to ongoing due diligence and securing sufficient financing and resources to complete the project. And the city would proceed and use its best efforts to establish a business development district redevelopment plan, projects, and area that include the site for the proposed sports facilities project. And those costs would then potentially be reimbursed to the city from the appropriate special business district tax allocation fund.
Thank you. We'd entertain a motion to adopt the resolution.
Move to adopt a public inducement resolution for business development district zone in the city of Macomb.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Would note that this in effect does not bind us to build the facility, and that when we're talking about any taxes here, it is sales tax, not real estate property tax. Any further discussion at all? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Wynn,
Aye.
Moon,
No.
Shu,
Aye.
Shabazz,
Aye.
Dorset,
Aye.
4-1.
Motion carried. Thank you. Item number 13, consideration of an ordinance annexing territory located at 3519, 4001, and 4007 West Jackson Street in Macomb, Illinois, also known as the Purdy parcels. This will be first reading.
Thank you. A written petition signed by John R. Purdy and Christine A. Purdy, the owners of record of the land and at least 51% of the electors, has been filed with the city clerk requesting that the territory be annexed to the city. This territory is not currently within the corporate limits of any municipality, but is contiguous to the city of Macomb. The requirements of the Illinois Municipal Code have been satisfied. The Fire Protection District, any public library district, township, and other public entities entitled to notice of the proposed annexation have been duly and regularly notified pursuant to the Illinois Municipal Code. If adopted, council would find and determine that it is in the best interest of the city that the proposed annexation be approved and that the territory be annexed to the city. The territory is legally described as set forth in the Exhibit A and as shown on the map as Exhibit B, which was provided to you tonight. If adopted, the clerk would be directed to record a certified copy of the ordinance with the Office of the Recorder of Deeds of McDonough County, to provide notice by registered or certified mail to the election authorities and the post office serving the territory, and to file a certified copy of the ordinance by registered or certified mail with the Township Clerk of Chalmers Township.
Thank you. That'll stand as first reading, and we'll have discussion on that item at next week's Committee of the Whole meeting. Item number 14, we'd ask for your understanding of that we were providing information late in the day today that there was an alternative method to address the issues of the water main that were brought about by this proposed item number 14 regarding an emergency approval of a water main replacement, that there are other means by which for that to be corrected without any consideration for your approval this evening. So Public Works Director reported that late in the day today. There is no other new business this evening. Any committee reports? Hearing none, automatic reports. Alderman Moon.
No report.
Thank you, sir. Alderman Nguyen.
No report.
Thank you. Alderman Dorset.
Yeah, at this time, many folks are experiencing strong passions, feeling a need to express themselves about it. And as far as I know, we're still in a position to peaceably assemble and discuss those things. So I would hope that anybody who is interested in expressing themselves, be respectful of everybody's opportunities to do so.
Very good, thank you. Alderman Shabazz.
No report, sir.
Thank you. Alderman Shu.
Just a few meetings ago, and Mayor, I don't think you were here for this one, but we had talked about the process between when things go from a committee to council or to a committee of a whole, and I just want to put that back on the list to see if we can get that for a discussion soon to all be on the same page on what that progression looks like.
Very good, sir. Yes, we can do that. Thank you. Madam Clerk, anything?
No.
Ms. Scalp, we've heard hardly anything from you this evening.
It's
Is there
hard to believe.
anything you want to add?
No, I'm good,
Okay.
thank you.
Mr. Coker, anything?
No report, Your Honor.
Alrighty, thank you. I would like to propose for your consideration, the acceptance with regret of the resignation of Heather McIlvain Newstad from the Tree Board.
Motion to accept with regret.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thank you. I would like to call an executive session to consider information relative to the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of an employee of the public body or legal counsel for the public body pursuant to Section 2C1 of the Open Meetings Act, and collective bargaining matters between the public body and its employees or representatives, or deliberations concerning salary schedules for one or more class of employee pursuant to Section 2C2 of the Open Meetings Act.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded to go into executive session. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Shu,
Aye.
Shabazz,
Aye.
Dorset,
Aye.
Wynn,
Aye.
Moon,
Aye.
all ayes.
Motion carried. Thank you. For the media, which they must have left or never showed up, we'll not have any action coming out of tonight's executive session.